This is my softball team in high school. I think this might be my senior year. Looking so happy to be there. And this is when I had blonde hair and I played softball. Blast from the past. What was with those pictures that we took? What a loser. I was thinking a lot about warming up as an athlete, and right now I'm a strength athlete, where when I was 16 and 17, I was a softball athlete or basketball, depending on what the season was. I wanted to do a video on warming up, and I wanted to reflect on my powerlifting warm-up and exactly what I do. And I got back to thinking of how other athletes warm up. And when I was 16, I mean, I had a coach there who was pretty experienced and telling me to do everything, so there was some authority to where I really had no choice what I did. Pretty much the warm-up was, as any softball warm-up goes, started with a lap and a jog around maybe the outfield or a lap around the track field, and then went into some static stretching, which probably wasn't the best thing that we could have been doing for ourselves. That's probably my only complaint. And then went into some mechanical throwing drills that then progressively the distance increased so that we would warm up really close to each other throwing and then get farther and farther away from each other, so we were overloading the intensity of the throws. As we got closer and closer to competition time or practice time, the training would get more and more specific and the warm-up would get more specific. I think back, and that person and that type of warm-up was a lot more intricate, more specific, and more purposeful than some of the warm-ups that I do now. I see people, even high-level powerlifters, will just walk in and walk straight to a barbell. Today I'm going to talk in this video about how we can incorporate a more purposeful warm-up and how we can, you know, be a little bit more accountable for those 10 to 20 minutes that might seem like just a small part of your workout and an insignificant part of your workout, and over multiple training cycles that really can make up a huge chunk of time that you have to practice technique, work on any weaknesses, and really set yourself up for success for your session. Today we're going to talk about warming up. Hello my strong friends, haven't said that yet. Okay, I'm starting my warm-up, as you may have noticed. People ask all the time, like, really specific questions. Hey, I'm this lifter doing this, how should I warm up? And well, it depends on everything. Like, I can't just answer that question. It's dependent on the lifter, it's dependent on where you are in a training cycle, it's dependent on like 1,000 different things. But there's a good way to structure your warm-up. I didn't make this acronym up, but something that I think is helpful is to think about ramping your workout. So R-A-M-P. The R stands for raise. So the idea is you want to raise your heart rate, increase your blood flow, get your body moving, get the cricks out of your joints, get your shit together. That can mean a couple different things. I'll probably do 5 minutes easy on the Airdyne, nice and light, just really to get moving. This is gonna, like I said, increase your blood flow. It's gonna help with some muscle contraction and muscle activation. It's definitely gonna help your joints feel a lot better if you start moving around and get some blood flow to them before you start loading a barbell. So, raise is the R. I've already been on it for 2 minutes.
Yeah, but you were talking for 1:45.
So I finished my cardio, 5 minutes of cardio, we'll call it that. This is something that you can skip or not, depending on how your body feels. I've talked about this in prior mobilization and like warm-up videos. I like to do a simple yoga flow or like sun salutation before I lift, and that's really just to, again, start moving my joints, moving my body a little bit. Typically I'm at a desk all day. This is like a, this is how Meg feels good kind of thing. And notice that it's in replacement of any static stretching. I like to now have a more dynamic warm-up to where I'm not doing just static stretches. I may hold some of the poses a little bit when it feels good or when it feels extra sticky. Ready? Now we're gonna move from R to AM. Now, I think when these guys made this up, it was like, oh, ramp spells ramp, right? Ramping up. A stands for activate, M stands for mobilize. I'm going to, in the order of those two, they're really paired as one, but I'm gonna mobilize first and then activate. If you're not a mobile person, this warm-up period could be a great time for you to work on any mobilization problems that you have. This is your time to really get your body primed to complete the specific range of motion that you need to for whatever you're doing. Today I'm squatting, so I can do it without any practice at all. Look at me, I'm amazing. I'm gonna continue to keep things pretty dynamic rather than doing just simple stretches. Probably the most static thing that I'll do is this position. And so what I'm doing is just taking my elbows and I'm pushing my knees out. We used to call this the third world squat or waiting for the bus. I was in a yoga class the other day and a lady called it the goddess pose, which I think is more fitting. So I'll usually transition from here and then I'll do a hamstring stretch, and I'll try to keep this as dynamic as possible, but I'm really just making sure that my muscles don't feel like shit. When I'm not moving all day long, sitting down, they usually tend to feel like shit. So this is really just me moving around, loosening things up, getting loosey-goosey, and then I'm gonna activate next. Okay, we're in our ramping phase. We're ramping still. I just mobilized. My heart rate is raised already, and I'm gonna activate. So now everyone loves to comment on my shitty knee valgus. Now, despite what you may believe or read in comments, this is not something that I purposefully do. This is my biggest weakness. So in my warm-up, a couple things that I'll do to activate some of those muscle groups that aren't firing properly, which causes the knee valgus when things are heavy enough. I have weak glutes for the sloops, unfortunately. So I want to activate mostly my glute med, and I want to turn this on so that when I'm in the bottom of the squat, I can continue to push out, turn that ass there back there on, continue to push my knees out so that I'm keeping my knees tracked somewhat in line with my toes, rather than when I have damn near 300 pounds in my back and no one's giving me credit for it and my knees cave in a little bit. I want to prevent that because it is a weakness. What I'm going to do here, it's great if you have a hip circle. I'm prepared today, so if you don't have a hip circle, then you can do this. Put a band around your traps, around your heels, and you're going to do a walk. So I'm going to do a walk where I have some resistance, and I'm pushing out with my foot, keeping tension, and turning on that there ass. And it's hard, and I'm activating. We're activating. So you can see as I go throughout my warm-up, my specificity is increasing. My specificity at the beginning was damn near 0. And now I'm gonna do a banded squat. Same thing here, I'm just thinking about pushing my knees out and pressing against the band. Okay, we're at the last part. The P stands for potentiate. Now what we're gonna do is now we're to the most specific portion of the warm-up. We're starting to incorporate some barbell work. Back in my softball days, this would have been me throwing or taking ground balls or catching pop flies in the outfield. Most specific to competition or most specific to what I'm actually going to be working on in training. I have pretty light squat session, to be honest. What I'll do is I'll take maybe 10 reps with just the barbell, then I'll typically add 25s to each side and then take those off and add 45s and so on. So I've talked about this before, I'll put up all of my warm-ups to today's workout, and then also I'll put down in the description all of my warm-ups to what I would take in a heavy squat day. So if I were to be squatting as much as possible, let's say a 1 rep at 9.5 RPE, or if I was in a competition at 10 maybe, if I can be so lucky, I'm going to put what I would take for a 1 rep max, and I'll try to figure out the percentages too, so maybe that's something that you can use for your 1 rep max if you're testing strength. It's important to note that my session here, my warm-up routine is going to be a little bit different than my warm-up routine in really heavy session or in a competition setting, because in a competition setting I'm competition specific and my #1 priority is the competition. Maybe there's some mobilization work or some I would say mostly mobilization work that maybe I'll skip during that specific time. You may not be so focused on your long-term or medium-term goals. I'm gonna squat finally. Warm up, complete. I used to do this back in the day, and I would take some of my warm-ups very lackadaisically. Lackadaisically? Is that a word?
That is.
I would not take them with the intensity that I really should have. This is the time for you when you have weight on the bar. Focus on any cues you're thinking of. Now it's time to potentiate increase intensity strategically, but also start to get more and more serious, more and more psyched up, more and more ready to train. Not specific. That's it. That's all I got for the warm-up and how to structure a warm-up. Maybe you can use the ramp method or the ramp structure and use some of those components and see how you can make that work for your workout. Now, depending on what you're doing for the day, what your training actually looks like, or what your competition looks like, yours will obviously look different, but maybe you can use the RAMP as a nice guide to get you there. Like I said, if you're investing that much time and you're investing money, like a gym membership, some coaching, you're investing all this stuff, putting all this energy into lifting, maybe you should be a little more diligent and be maybe a little bit more intentional to optimize your warm-up sessions. That 10 minutes a day can add up to a lot of training time. So don't be like the powerlifter just coming in, getting straight on the bar. Be more like you when you played organized sports, when you had a coach there. Be more like someone who has a coach there, organizing things, organizing a warm-up, and having something optimized to make sure that she's ready to lift all the weight in the world. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have suggestions on warm-up tips, or if you've thought about how you can optimize your warm-up and change things to make it better for your lifting sessions, write it down in the comments below so I can take a look. If you have any suggestions on new videos that you want to see or tips, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!